Welcome back to the Wilderness Podcast. Don't really know why I said back, but we're just going to move on.
Already.
Great to be back here with my man Bryce. We got some exciting stuff to talk to you guys about today. We're going to play a little game. It's usually kind of how we like to break it up in the beginning. We're going to jump into our primary topic, which is all about mindset. That'll take some good time. We'll take a break. Then we'll get back. We'll play another game, and we're going to get into some of the secrecy of dating, honestly, kind of in the modern world of everything being digitized and swipage carnage going on out there. So we're excited to talk to you about that, but obviously pulling from our own experiences. Then we'll get into the check it out, the thing that we're offering you, things that we've kind of enjoyed recently. And then we'll give you something before you leave today, and it is on the topic of sharpening your mind. So yeah, that's it.
Beautiful. Glad to be back. This is number 2, man. So we're rocking and rolling now.
Number 2. It's
Veterans,
exciting. And we're already kind of starting to get in our flow here with the setup and the topics and all that. It's gonna be really cool to see it evolve. Game.
Let's do it. Let's rock and roll.
Okay, so here's my challenge to you. I'm gonna get my phone so I can time you. I want 30 seconds on the topic of Dolphins in any accent you'd like to choose.
Oh boy.
That's the only area in which you get selectivity, is the accent.
Can I go like deep Southern? Is that an accent?
It's kind of like you're from the South. So it's kind of
but
like,
I don't talk like that. I don't even know if I could go that 30
can
seconds.
Can you go
That'd
Jamaica? Can you do Jamaica?
No, man, I can't do Jamaica.
It's further south.
That is further south. That's true. All right, 30 seconds on Dolphins. Oh man, with an accent.
Content is also a concern. Content.
Yeah, for sure. All right, we rolling now?
We're doing it.
So last week I went and I actually swam with dolphins, and I don't know if you've ever done that before, but I was on the road to London, and I was sitting there with my driver, and I said, "Oh my God, I've never swam with dolphins before." And my guy said, "Dude, I know a guy that knows a guy. It's on a cruise ship. You can take dolphins wherever you want to go." And so I actually rode dolphins. Is that 30 seconds, mate?
That's enough, yeah.
30 seconds.
Well done, man. You totally pulled out the British thing. I think it went really well for you, though. I think it went really well.
Do you think I could, like, if I were to jump on a call, do you think someone would be like, wow, he's totally impersonating the person from London? Or
First call, like a business development call?
Yeah, just do you think I could pass as someone?
I don't think it's an appropriate setting to call someone out on their fake accent anyway.
That's true.
Right?
Very true. Good call.
They're not gonna be like, hey, listen, man, like, let's pump the brakes here for a second. Your accent's fake. Like,
yeah.
Like,
that's true.
Why don't they just hang up at that point?
That makes me feel a little bit better.
So,
thank you.
How's that? Have you tried it though? You're doing
Riding
like
with
pretty
dolphins?
big real estate deals. Do you just kind of randomly?
No, I've never ridden dolphins before.
No, I was talking about the accent stuff.
Oh, okay. I've
never swam with dolphins either. I've always wanted to. So I was 5. My whole family went to Florida. Everyone's all jacked up about swimming with the dolphins. But I had just broken my arm, so I had a cast, so I couldn't go in. So I sat there and had to watch my whole family play with dolphins.
Right.
At 5. I think I was supervised, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. That's a shame. My favorite dolphin story is a Kevin Hart stand-up. Have you heard of it?
No.
Where he talks about, they're swimming with dolphins, and then, it gets splashed in the face, whatever. Thinks that a dolphin takes him underwater, the whole thing, calls him like a racist dolphin, and then the guy's like, "Dude, it's 3 feet, just stand up." It's Kevin Hart's the good,
man.
Back in the day it was good stuff.
It's gotten really dark lately.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough, but it's
They all do that.
Is, yeah.
Why do they do? And by the way, I'm not saying all black
right.
people do that. I'm saying all comedians. Go die! Don't you hate that? No, they all comedians get. All comedians get really dirty at some point. Why do they? Are they trying to prove something?
Yeah, I don't know.
Trying to stay relevant.
First off,
cookies
are you
yeah,
dipping cookies in decaf? I love it. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's you kind of run out of things to say. You get kind of sequestered into people. I think it's more funny if I talk like this or. Whether it's topic, whether it's how you say it, how you bring it.
Yeah.
Kevin Hart's a super funny guy.
He could talk about anything and let me
right.
laugh,
His first couple were hilarious, and they definitely weren't raunchy or anything like that. Yeah. But I haven't listened to the last couple of his stand-ups, obviously, just his movies. But funny dude, really, really funny guy. But anyways, let's get back on mindset, man, because I think it's a really cool topic and one that I really feel like. Yeah, I really feel like anybody, whether you listen to us, you don't listen to us. everybody needs mindset. So it's kind of cool to get a little bit of your input as far as, where you've grown the last, 5, 10, 15, 25 years. My little tidbit as well.
I want to hear your take on all this. And what are we talking about specifically? Are we talking about kind of using your mind as a weapon, equipping your mind?
Yeah, I think that what was cool about it when I called you the other day talking about, what should we talk about? It was kind of based off of, my pastor had a sermon that was kind of titled, I declare war. And it's a really cool concept to think about when, you say in your mind that you declare war on negative thoughts, on self-image, on fear, whatever, you plug in your situation or what you struggle with. And a lot of it, I think, has to do with mindset and how you look at certain things. So I know it's kind of a broad stroke, but I think we can kind of both give a couple examples and maybe, some ways at which, again, you think about certain things when it comes to business. Maybe talk about a couple of things that relate to being an athlete in that world, and we just kind of see where it goes. So
so the way I can probably best speak about this from my personal experience is like I look back at my corporate career, and I remember the reason I left all that is because I was really frustrated. I felt like a dead end. Everything was good on the resume and all that, but I was just really, I wasn't using my gifts and talents and all that. And I kept thinking, how the hell did me, like my personality, get into like software development management, like driving software implementation projects? Because they're very technical and you need to be incredibly organized, and they don't really need you to be creative. Like I wasn't building products. Like, hey, Microsoft needs this interesting new tool. Like, let's talk to our end users and create something that's really, magnetizing. It's going to bring customers in. It wasn't like that. It was more like, here's this corporate initiative. We need you to drive it. We need you to do it on time and under budget, right? And so that for me is like the least sexy situation of my life. Other people might enjoy that because there's structure, there's timelines, there's risk management, all this kind of stuff. That's just not how I think. But the reason I'm telling you all this is because I really wanted to get the hell out of that environment, and I felt like every day there was like a prison. And so that's why I really cast off the chains and really decided to go into entrepreneurship and just figure that whole thing out. And it took me a long time to kind of get my feet under me in entrepreneurship. But now that I look back, all of those things were just equipping me with skills and confidence and even like a resume, honestly,
right.
to just open doors for me now with startup founders, with investors. It all worked for my good, right? But in the moment, I was so negative about it. And I have to ask myself sometimes, what if I would have viewed all of that the way, what if I used to see all that for what it was and said, you know what, today sucks. This is not my purpose. This is not what I'm supposed to be doing, but there's some reason I'm here, and I'm going to find those nuggets, and I'm going to see the positive in this situation, right? Because I don't think I did enough of that.
Right, which is really cool. But so when you talk about
that's
entrepreneurship
more like positive
right now,
thinking, I know.
Yeah, no, it's good. But so especially where you're at right now, and it was good. I was glad you kind of gave the backstory, especially for our listeners. But when you talk about entrepreneurship right now, there's kind of a lot of unknown with it, right? I mean, you were just talking about, it's been 9 months, and you're finally, being able to kind of proof of concept kind of thing. So there's a lot of, in that 9 months, there's a lot of days where you might wake up, super pumped. A lot of days where you might wake up and it's like, what am I doing? So how do you kind of approach each day with an entrepreneurial type mindset of, you have a dream and go chase that dream kind of thing?
Well, it's kind of cool. So if you look at this table, like this cup, anything we touch, it was once just an idea in someone's mind, right? So there's a lot of kind of like this negative counterculture to entrepreneurship right now. Like, oh, you millennials just love, like, you just don't want to work for anybody. It's like a whole ignorance and isolation thing and all that. And to some extent, they're right. I think a lot of people are medicating with like entrepreneurship. However, hard to keep a good man down. If he wants to create something, he's going to create something. And how can you say that Andrew Carnegie was a fool when he first thought of doing what he did, which is the making and manufacturing and the price optimization of steel, which made so many other things able to be executed and accomplished.
Right.
And he talks a lot about that. One of my favorite books is Wisdom of Success, where he talks about his mindset and how he sharpens it and how he taps into what he calls infinite intelligence. That was kind of what he politically referred to as God, right? Infinite intelligence. And he had he had all these thought patterns. He had all these very confident sayings and kind of slogans about when you go to bed and you ask God like a question, like something you can't necessarily figure out. A lot of the time he'd wake up with a solution. So he thinks that the subconscious was tapping into like that infinite intelligence. Wow. But anyway, I'm kind of going down a rat hole there. I'm not fully answering your question. Entrepreneurship is a constant mental battle because it's like, I believe in this thing. 6 out of the 10 people I've told do not believe in this thing, but I don't care. I believe in this thing, especially because my visions and stuff, they come from when I'm like spending time with God. So he's not going to give me like a bogus vision, right? I know it's not from me. I don't just create it. It's not like I'm walking down the street and I see a box and I'm like, I'm going to create a new version of that box. It's not really like that. It's deeper than that. So it forces you to believe in yourself to a whole nother degree. And then I do believe that young entrepreneurs need to put themselves around people who do believe in their same vision and mission, because those people are they see the same summit of the mountain, but they might take a different path, or they might help you along the path you're going to take to that mountain. And we need people in our corner, right? Yeah. So a big piece of mindset is being around people who kind of remind you of the goals and remind you of the summit as well. You can't do it alone. It's really hard.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No,
how have you kind of seen that? Like, how'd you see that play out in sports?
Yeah, sports is always it's a lot like entrepreneurship, honestly. I mean, there's a lot of people that all they want to say is you can't do something, right? And so it's kind of you against the world in some cases, not all cases, right? But the other side of that too is that a lot of times, whether you're in team sports or you're in individual sports, take football versus golf, that athlete still has to be driven to some degree, right? It's not just because on Sunday a golfer's by himself, but on Sunday there's 10 other guys on the field with the football player. But you still have to want to go work, still have to want to go put in the preparation, whether it's watching film, whether it's drawing a map on a course, whatever the case is. But I think the mental toughness and a sense of, again, the golf reference of getting through a round, like whether you are just able to sustain 18 holes, or whether or not you put one in the woods and you got to get back out for par, whatever the case is, and not to throw a whole lot of golf reference, but at the same time, I mean, I think it goes in your everyday walk of life. So whether that's being an entrepreneur and having 10 people say, I don't know what in the heck you're doing, why would you give up a whatever 6-figure paycheck to come and basically try and help athletes get where they're going, right? But it's that ability for you to see a vision each and every day that you wake up, highlight a vision each and every day you go to sleep, and learn from those things that happen throughout the day that allow you to progress to tomorrow. And I think that's the big thing with mindset for me is it's this constant reminder of progression, that it's not an end result.
Exactly.
Whether it's not, or whether it's, hey, I got in June, I got to go out for the team, so that's my end result. Your end result is not if you made the team or not. Just like the end result is for you, if you have a year, a 3-year, a 5-year goal, that's never an end result. It's just another step in that process of getting from point A to point B. And so that's where I think a lot of people miss, is that there's this inadequate, almost culture rather of that there has to be an end result, and you reach that end result, and if you don't, you fail. And there's a lot of people that say like, you fail when you learn, or you learn when you fail, basically, whatever. And I think there's truth to that, but at the same time, I hate using the word fail. I don't think that anybody fails at anything. I think it's just called life.
And learning.
Exactly. You don't lose, you learn. That was actually one of my favorite sayings from Coach Kaz. He was our strength coach at Baylor. And if you adapt that mindset, that whether you're in a cubicle Monday to Friday from 8 to 5, or you're out an entrepreneur, going after a goal, or real estate like I'm in myself, where you have a coffee meeting, a lunch meeting, or whatever, that there's just this constant evaluation of the process, and every time you get in that meeting, that cubicle, that room, that you're learning from either that person, you're learning from that computer, that job, whatever. And I think it's a foreign concept to a lot of people, just because society puts so many parameters on success now. Think about athletes, think about social media and everything. If the guy's in the NFL, right, and if he has a 45% completion percentage and 2 picks, it's like he's the worst player to ever walked on the earth.
What a waste of a draft
Yeah,
pick.
and you're just
whatever,
like, you're just like, dude, what in the world? Like, so you don't even.
And then you see all these guys who have been in the league for 6-7 years. They finally, like, the starter gets injured, right? They step in. The team is like 7-3, and they're like, wait, this could be a playoff team. Can this like journeyman take him? And then he kills it, right?
Yeah,
and then he turns like Matt Castle had a good run later in his career.
Right.
You know, guys like that. Who's the dude for the Eagles? Nick Foles.
Yeah.
Who stepped in and won a Super Bowl and
almost quit.
Almost
was like
quit.
Ready
yeah,
to
that
stop
story
playing.
was crazy.
I know,
so,
it's wild.
you know, I talk about this all the time. I think that corporate careers, there's nothing wrong with them. I think if you look, you can be an entrepreneur in a corporate career momentarily. It's the way you look at it, right? So it comes back to mindset. But corporate careers are kind of like a trampoline, right? So you're jumping really high, right? And people are looking at you and it's cool and the resume's nice and you're making good money. So whatever metric you're using to measure success, it's kind of there. You can get there on the trampoline. You can jump higher. You can go higher. But are you really learning how to jump? Like, are you really using, like, the height that you're getting is based on the cumulative work of so many other people. And that's not a problem, but you just have to know that, right? You have to know that even when you fall on a trampoline, you're on a trampoline. You're not going to like break your head open on a trampoline. You're still going to keep bouncing and you're going to be fine. Entrepreneurship is just the removal of the trampoline. I have to learn how to land softer.
That's cool.
I have to learn how to jump higher. I have to learn that if I jump that high, it's cool, but I'm going to freaking hit my head on the way down. And I don't really know if I want to. I'm going to jump 75% this time because I don't really want to land on my head. Things like that. And then I think, like, even if you go back into the corporate world, you're going to be a better jumper on the trampoline because you've had to jump from the ground. So
you've taken it off.
I think you're just eliminating the safety net, to use another analogy, but same kind of concept, right, underneath you. And that forces you to realize, wait, when I don't get that, when I don't land that contract, it's not just like, okay, I'll try the next one. Good thing I still have my 401k. It's like, okay, I have to land the next one or I won't pay my mortgage. Yeah. So I need to prepare for 17 hours for the next one. It's just different. It's just different. Yeah. You're forced to work harder.
Right.
You know? But yeah, I've made so many mistakes, man. Like, entrepreneurship is just, dude, it is a world of failure, bro. Like, I was sitting there kind of working on my personal website today, uploading video, and some of the videos are like, the purpose of this is to showcase my speaking ability, right? And a lot of the videos were like concepts that I was excited about. I was marketing at the time, and I would be like kind of dry running a concept, right? Because the whole idea is like have a concept, okay, test the concept, like talk to your end customer, test it, get feedback, iterate, and then eventually monetize it. But you can't really do that out front. I had done everything up until monetize and really like kind of scale and try to like put on these connecting events, these strategic networking events. And I'm watching these videos and I'm like remotivating myself on the concept, like listening to myself talk to me. And I'm like, why did I pull the plug on this? I was literally like, why did I stop putting my energy towards this? I had 15 people that I trust that would totally call me out if it was not a good idea. And they were all like, this is an amazing concept. You need to go for this. I had my buddy collect video for me. We put on a whole event. My wife helped with the event. And I just stopped. And I think it's fitting that we're talking about mindset today because, dude, it was a mindset. I think I heard enough from some people or whatever that, hey, it's going to be hard to monetize. Or, dude, what new concept is going to be easy to monetize? It's a freaking new concept. Yeah. Before Uber, they'd be like, oh, it's freaking stupid. Like, no one's going to pay for that. Why don't I just go get a cab? Yeah. Now it's Uber, right? So it's just, honestly, I think it takes maturity to hear those things and be like, all right, that is a consideration, but it will not stop me. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And I've failed in that category multiple times. I'm just sick of it. Yeah. I'm so sick of it, dude. You get so fed up.
Right. You know? Well, and it's crazy too, when you think about being, there's two like buzzwords, right? Like when you go to a doctor and he's like, hey, you're going to feel a little pinch here, like buckle up, right? Like it's going to hurt. But I think that's two buzzwords for society are like, you know, that feeling of being uncomfortable and that feeling of fear. Like those are two words that like people want to shy away from so much. And it's like, well, when have you ever learned anything being comfortable? You know, being comfortable is like, hey, I want to go to my 9 to 5. I know exactly what cubicle I'm going to. I want to know exactly what, you know, meeting I'm going into. And, you know, if you operate in that world all the time, like you're never going to be able to, you know, in a sense, reach that full potential.
There's no growth.
Right. There is no growth. There is no growth. And it's you have to encompass that fear of being uncomfortable, you know, and being, it's that mindset of, hey, it's okay. You know, and I think that the thought of a process or the realization that you take it day by day kind of chips away at that fear, type scale sometimes. Yeah. And then it just allows you to be free. And when you walk in freedom, man, there's really nothing you can't do.
What's cool about that also is it actually benefits the results. Like when people sense that you don't necessarily need something, like you're not desperate for something because you're anchored by something greater, or or you're like ultimately like, if I fail this meeting, like I got one tomorrow, I'm gonna be okay. Right. And I trust God and I trust myself, and I'm learning, I'm growing. They want to work with you, right? Because everybody wants to be around that energy, right? Yeah. So. I could talk about this all day. It's awesome. So there's two things we're going to share later in the episode near the end that will help you guys start thinking in the right direction. So my friend Peter Yobo recommended this first one to me when I first started entrepreneurship. It's called As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. This was written in 1903, long time ago. So traditional thought, but it's been recycled and regurgitated a million times. And it's the same concepts like reign true, right? It's all about like we can create things with our minds. There's a lot of theories out there, and I'm about 80% sold on a lot of it, because some of them get a little taboo. It's kind of like, or not taboo, but a little hippy dippy kind of thing. Like if you think about it, it's already there. I'm like, I don't know about that, but I do believe that when you have a concept that you can think of in your mind and it's very clear, and then you start working towards it, because God, and this is biblical, because God responds to action. Like a big piece of faith is action. Yeah. Right? You can't just believe from your closet. Like you have to go do something. That as you start kind of putting energy in the universe, like towards that thing is also drawing closer to you, and you'll start seeing little things connect, whether it's over the course of a meal or a year or 5 years. Like I'm already seeing things happen now in Forest that we planted that seed 2 years ago. Yeah, right? You're right. And it didn't look like this, but I'm like, that's how that plays in, right? The universe starts to really, in a complex manner, but in a very intentional manner, draw closer to you until that dream is realized. But you have to believe that for it to occur. You can't just be kind of walking blindly and hoping for the great results. I think one of the biggest issues that's facing our generation is we want things to happen so fast. Yeah.
I've had that conversation a couple of times, especially like when you have, your parents, right? Like your dad has a BMW, your mom has a Range Rover, and it's like, hey, I want that. And it's like,
how do I get that? Yeah.
Like you're 27 right now. I'm 27 right now. Our friends, most of my friends are that age as well. And it's like, dude, your parents have been working the last 25 years. And then before that, to where they're, they get to where they're at now. So it's like, you have to be able to put in work, to
all
get
those
that.
Instagram. Have you seen those Instagram profiles where people just like post pictures and they're like leaning on Ferraris and stuff?
Yeah, dude. It's
not their car.
At the dealership.
That's so sad though. Like we want so bad to be perceived as that rich that we go to the dealership. That is so sad, bro.
Dude. Get this. So I showed you the Fire Festival thing, right? Yeah. And I think probably everybody's seen it, especially people listening to this. Most people, yeah. The concept they were talking about, that there were people that have put this private plane or whatever on this tarmac and rent out. You can rent out for like 20, 30 minutes just to take a picture of it. And it's like, dude, you've got to be kidding me. Yeah. So all those people have bad credit anyways. But it's amazing to me how many times, we walk throughout the day of like, man, I really wish I had that life. I really wish I had that life. And like, what in God's green earth does that? How does that benefit you? Wanting something, and
it's
we're
just affirmation.
Man. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. All it does is put us in a negative mindset of this. We get overwhelmed with where we're at right now and why we're not there, and how did they, what did they do to get there, and all that kind of stuff. And it's a sad world, man. And then you're not content with anything. You're not content with anything. I was going to get into gratitude. That's a slippery slope.
Yeah. Like if you want to be happy, I think the first step to be happy is to make a gratitude journal. Like before you go to bed every night.
Oh, man, that's cool.
Write down 3 things you're grateful for. It can be like, I'm grateful my watch works.
Right.
And but it's training your brain to think, see the positive, see the positive, see the positive. And before you know it, there's just more positives to appreciate. And
you change your
dude,
mindset.
there have been so many times where I'm bitching about my business and I'm praying like, God, why won't you bless this right now? I put so much work in. I have great people around me. I can sell it, like just everything. And then there's kind of this like, Chad, look at what I've given you. Like, look at your beautiful wife who would do anything for you. Look at your beautiful kids running around playing like with no medical issues, never. Like, dude, I'm so ungrateful sometimes, It's so easy to get into that mindset, So easy. We gotta and that's I think why we need friends too, to be like, bro, I know you're struggling right now, but do you realize how fortunate you are to have X, Y, and Z?
How many times that conversation actually happened? Yeah.
Have you ever read the book of Job?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Dude, I'm in the middle of book of Job, and literally the first 3 chapters are Job's bitching about his life, and he's gone through some shit. Like, he's gone through some serious shit. But his friends are like, bro, like, you are so prideful right now.
Job chapter 3, verse 1. Job bitching about his life.
I'm just going to paraphrase the whole thing for you. Save you some time. Job is bitching about his life. He lost his kids in something, like, and then he has these boils all over his skin. I would be complaining too. And he's like, woe is me, kill me. Like, I wish I would never lived and all this stuff. And his friends are like, whoa, bro. Like, do you know how blessed you are, bro? Like, and they say something in there too. They say, you're usually the guy encouraging everybody else, but now that things are happening to you that are bad, now you want to pull the plug.
Right, yeah.
And that's so true. We can all drink some of that, you know?
For sure.
It's all relevant. Trevor, how much time do we have on this first segment? 4 minutes? Okay. Well, anything else you want to talk about on mindset? Anything you feel like people need to know?
I don't know. I think it's, aside from just the process, right? Because I feel like the process is kind of more of when you go to sleep, you know that there's a process being had. So what I kind of want to get into these last couple of minutes is just, okay, what about when I wake up? Like, do you have anything that you do when you wake up? And maybe it is that gratitude journal, which is really, really cool, by the way. I'd encourage everybody to do that. But is there something else kind of tangible that, like, hey, going into entrepreneurship, like, this is what I have to do? Well,
it comes back to, like, seven habits of highly successful people. You got to spend about an hour alone. Before the world wakes up, you need to have some alone time. And, like, obviously I spend time in the Word of God. I spend time praying. I spend time, and not every morning. I'm not perfect on this. I mean, come on. But a lot of people, they focus on their goals. They set 3 priorities for the day. They look at their calendar. They prepare. It's like going into a football game, but you're not prepared. Like, come on, bro. You got to watch film. You got to get your uniform ready. I mean, that was always number 1 on my list, get my uniform ready. Because I look good, feel good, play good, pay good, pay good, which is a Deion Sanders quote. I'm going to keep moving on the mindset thing. No, I have statements of strength that I read every morning. There's like 12 of them. They've gone through a lot of evolution, but essentially it touches on everything. They're affirmations. So they're like, I am a fantastic provider and protector for my wife and my kids. Like, that's one of them. Another one is like, everything works for my good. Even the things that seem bad, they're working for my good. And the last one really gets me, and it honestly works. It's, I'm satisfied, I am joyful, and I force myself to smile when I say joyful. Because it says it relaxes your face, and it relaxes. It has like all these emotional impacts when you smile. That's really cool. I'm satisfied, I'm joyful, and I'm at peace. And then I take like 5 seconds, and I just close my eyes, and I honestly kind of meditate for 5 seconds, and I just say I'm at peace, and I just let my shoulders relax, and then I start my day. But it's just programming,
That's it. It is, and those programming can be a little mundane sometimes, but it's what you do in those mundane moments.
I never want to do it.
Right.
I never want to do that.
But if you were to take that out of your life, what would that life look like?
I've literally gone like a week and not doing it, and I'm a completely different person.
Right.
My wife will start bitching. She's like, "Who are you?" Like, okay.
So I'm telling you, that stuff you can immediately feel, when you don't do those things. So again,
it's like a sliver in your toe. Like, you can't do anything with a sliver in your toe. It's so painful, but it's this tiny little thing. I mean, you can do some things.
Sliver in your,
sliver,
what does that mean?
It's like something poking into your toe, like a piece of wood, like a tiny piece of wood in your toe.
Sliver?
It'd be hard to walk and like have meetings, and you can't do anything.
I've heard of like a sliver of cake, like just a little piece of cake.
Oh, a splinter.
I was like, what am I talking about? A sliver,
together, bro. Come on.
I want to help you out there, but that's a West Coast thing.
I think that diluted the point that I was trying to make.
It was a great point too. I'm sorry, I just
no, but I'm just saying the little things cause big impacts. Right?
Yeah, very true, very true. Cool, that's a great way to stop, man. Take a break here.
Yeah, let's take a break. Hey guys, just want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, Outswa Publishing. They have gone above and beyond to get me and Bryce set up on this podcast. We're super stoked to be partnering with them on this. If you need your story told in an authentic way, no BS, no frills, just the straight story, check them out on YouTube. They have a channel called Christianity Uncensored on YouTube. And like I said, we're just grateful for their support. Thanks. Okay, we are jumping back in here. We're going to start off with a game, and this is a game where I made up today, and I will be saying...
Those are my favorite.
Yeah, I think it's probably going to be terrible. We'll kind of test it on air.
How many cookies can you put in your mouth?
How fat can you get at a table within 10 minutes? No, we have a bucket of cookies sitting in front of us. And Bryce, you've had
Yeah.
a lot of those cookies, bro.
I probably had.
How do you stay
Granted,
in shape? Do you work out a bunch?
These things they're like as big as a quarter, dude.
Yeah, when you have 17 of them, it's not one cookie at that point.
No nutritional label
No,
here.
yeah, of course not. They're like, let's not rub it in their face.
Oh, there we go.
They know what they're getting
Serving
into.
size is 6 cookies. I probably had 3 servings.
You've had
dude.
3 servings, and what are we looking at?
Probably not the best. Probably not the
So they're not like gluten-free,
non-GMO.
flavor-free,
Yeah,
everything?
stevia.
My wife is gluten-free, so I've gotten into the whole like gluten-free thing, and there's so much good gluten-free stuff out there now. It's honestly like cauliflower pizza is so good, and
It
it's
actually
so
is
much
pretty good.
healthier.
Yeah, it has. Well,
The texture's weird though.
So we went to Menchie's last night. You been to Menchie's? Like
oh,
froyo?
someone told me about. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so every
Danny doesn't
flavor
do
is like-
froyo. She won't do it.
She won't?
She only does ice cream, and she won't do soft serve. She's very picky about ice cream.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So there's
It's an idol.
non-GMO,
It's an idol.
vegan, no sugar added. So I'm like, what is this?
what
What
is
am I
this?
eating
Yeah,
right now?
air.
But it's delicious.
Yeah.
So good. I had Chips Ahoy and very, very chocolate, I think is what the flavor was last night.
Oh, you're a big chocolate.
was
guy.
chocolate.
I'm a big chocolate guy.
If
I'll
you
just do
couldn't tell
like
from
double
very, very
chocolate on
chocolate.
everything.
Yeah.
Love it.
Anyways, get back to your game. Sorry.
Game is I name an actor. Bryce has to name the movie that he believes I am thinking of when I name the actor. Like my favorite movie that the actor is in.
Okay.
So
this ought to
I'm
be good
gonna
for our friendship.
I'm gonna say, and like I don't know how well I know you in this
About to find
world,
out.
right? In this world. And then we do 3 rounds, and whoever ends up with more points wins. So it's
Okay.
like best, and you get a point obviously if you guess the right.
Okay.
one. And the other person can't lie because what's the freaking point at that point?
Right.
I'm gonna start with Keanu Reeves.
The Matrix.
That's good. That's a point.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Ocean's 11.
What, dude? You got to do an actor. You got to do an actor, and then I guess the movie.
I thought we were.
Then
going
again,
movie.
we could do it. We could do the inverse of it. We're building the game as we go. So
I thought we were going with.
no. It's okay. Okay.
No, you
do
just said
do you
Keanu
like
Reeves.
Clo-
Wow, that's
Do
bad.
you like Clooney or Brad Pitt better? I would say you're a Clooney guy.
1 point.
Yes.
So I think
All right,
I think
all
it helps when you can do both.
Yeah, that's kind of fun actually.
Makes me
Yeah,
feel better
yeah.
about myself. I've had concussions, bro. Just chill.
No, we're gonna be all right. Let's see. I'll give you a movie now. I'll give you a movie. It can't be like it has got to be a big enough movie where there's multiple stars in it, to get Ocean's 11 was great.
Thanks, buddy.
There's a full cast. No one knows the names of those actors. I was gonna say Sandlot. Where are they now? Benny, where are they now? All right, fine. I'll go back to actor. Will Ferrell.
I'm just hoping it's my favorite movie is Step Brothers. So
Not Step Brothers. I was thinking old school on that one.
okay. I'm gonna go with let's go with Megan Fox.
The only movie I've ever seen, Transformers, right?
She's been in a couple.
I got to be
man,
careful
but
here.
that
I got to
was-
be careful.
That's true.
I started naming all these like
Yeah, I
B
know.
title movies. My wife's like, whoa. Like when she first got her start, All right. This is more of a test. Kill Bill. Did you ever see that movie, Kill
Yeah,
Bill?
but I mean,
It's an
yeah,
it's an
just-
interesting name. That blonde chick. What's her
Yeah.
name?
I have no idea.
Uma Thurman is her name.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah, let's move
It's
on.
like, yeah,
I apologize. I
that
don't
was
know.
graduate school.
I don't want to give you a non-point. So let's
Okay.
go 0.5 on that. You
Thanks,
have
buddy.
1.5.
Um,
I have 2.
Let's go with my man, Robert Downey Jr.
See, do you watch a lot of movies?
I like, yeah.
Do you watch
movies, yeah.
like? How long have you been following Downey Jr.? We're adding to the game. I can ask 2 follow-on questions. I can phone a friend as well. Hey, what do you think
Free
he means?
lifelines.
Like texting someone, he's like, I don't care. This is stupid.
I will answer that question and say not as far back as you would think.
Anchorman. Not Anchorman.
False.
The one. That was him, right? No, come on. The thing with the ball in his chest.
This is good for our viewers.
Okay, this is super annoying.
I think there's
And you just saw the Avengers, so I
probably
know
3 or
it's this.
4
I know it's this.
followers that are on Team Bryce now.
I'm
since
so
you just said
annoyed. No,
ball
they've
in
always
his
been on Team
chest.
Bryce. What is the? I'm so Iron Man, dude. Iron Man.
Thank you.
Iron Man. All right.
1, 2, or 3. No, I'm just kidding. Iron Man works.
The sequel was your favorite.
That's a good game, dude. I messed up the first, but I think it actually added to the game a little bit. Besides Kill Bill,
You gotta roll with it. Kill Bill was a detriment. I
tough.
apologize. I apologize
okay.
for that. Yeah, we were playing this game the other night. Trevor had a lot of tequila. Trevor was like feeding shots.
Trevor's
it was
a video
essentially
guy,
like
by
a
the way.
church. It was like a church group, like mostly. You know, we all believe in God. We're hanging out, having drinks, and Trevor's like shots. And I did a few with him, but then it was like, all right, dude, like maybe we should reel back in the shots.
Right.
You know, there's little girls that are like, I'm not going to be doing a shot tonight. It was hilarious, man. It was fun. At one point, I had to literally lecture him, like, we're just going to do beers now, okay? We're just going to do beers.
Sit him down.
It's 10:30.
Hand on the
We're just
shoulder.
gonna do
Be
beers.
like, dude, cool it.
I love you, bro. Okay, so let's get into some other conversations that can really have impacts in our marital lives. Do's and don'ts of dating. So I kind of texted Bryce about this a few weeks ago. I think it's once you're married, especially once you're married with kids. If you're not married with kids, I consider you single. You're single.
Thank you.
You are single. You're not in a committed relationship. No, but it's just completely different. It's just different when you have kids because like my life is a schedule. But I think it's funny to see single people like out there, and like a lot of people I've noticed they're either clamoring to like hang on to their singledom and be like, I don't believe in marriage. I'm gonna like get with as many girls as I can while I'm living. I'm like, you're a sad fool. Or they're clamoring to get married. So many people want to get married. I don't know why. Is it like an Instagram thing? Is
Ring
it pressure
before spring.
Is it a pressure from family thing? I don't know. But I've seen some funny stuff go down. It's just it's funny to watch them like go through their process. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's several things. Yeah, societal pressures are tough, man.
Is that a
and
thing?
I think it's
I didn't never
oh
feel
for
that
sure,
way.
for sure. That was a saying at Baylor was always ring before spring.
That's really
That's a thing. Yeah,
oh, like before
yeah.
graduation?
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a real deal. So, you know, it's funny because once that spring semester hits, all of a sudden guys like start taking online classes, you know, like they're never around, and girls are like starting to wear dresses. It's like, it's a real deal.
Oh my god.
I made that last part up. But
yeah, that's funny.
anyways, it is a big deal. But I think it's,
time.
you know, it's keeping up with the Joneses kind of thing. You know, once your friends start getting in long-term relationships and kind of making that next step, it's, you know, some people are just more apt to and or more mature to that role. You know, I think that, you know, at some point you're gonna grow up, whether it's you know at 22 or whether it's at 42, your heart's gonna be ready for that. But it's definitely an interesting topic of discussion.
I never really had a plan for it. I was kind of just letting it kind of come to me. But I think at one point I was like, okay, I'm ready to like meet. I'm ready to at least like take a relationship more seriously.
Right.
I wasn't cheating on girls, but I was just not committed, you know. Like if another girl seemed interesting, I would like text her a little bit and be like, okay, well maybe I could like date her too, or date her, not also like just add to my list, but you know, I'm gonna end it with this girl and pick it up there. It's just like at one point I'm like, all right, like I want to meet a girl who like I can actually like commit to. Then I got on Match.com. I met Danny on Match. Have I told you that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we talked about that last time. But yeah, I think it's interesting to see people go through the process. But one thing I want to say about marriage is like you're never ready for marriage. Like I don't think unless you've already been married. And then I think I could make an argument that you're not really ready because there's a reason you got divorced. So you're just going to kind of do the same thing. But I don't think you're ever ready to put another person's needs above yours in life. I don't think you're never ready. I'm still not ready when I wake up every morning. I have to choose to be ready every day, you know? So some people are like, I don't know, man, like I just want to figure out my career first and then I'm going to settle down. I'm like, stop trying to live like that picture book progression. It's not life. Like, why don't you just take it as it comes to you? Tips from me. So I told Bryce, bring 3 things that you like, pieces of advice. And we're mostly talking to guys here. I can't speak as a woman. Be pursued, girl. Get out there. You know, just, flaunt it, but know you have it. Like, be confident, you know? Like, don't be a whore. Yeah. Don't be a whore. You know?
Be a princess.
But we're behind you.
Be a princess. He should treat
you
like
a princess.
a princess.
I hate that crowd. I hate that
crowd. I
crowd.
gotta do too, man, to be honest.
I hate it, dude.
But it's okay.
Act like a princess.
Yeah,
and then you will be treated like a princess.
That's true. That's true. All right, give us your 3, buddy.
My 3 are... my first one is give them a line of sight. So when you're interested in a girl, I would say there's a lot of guys out there that are doing the whole douchebag thing right now where they, you'll find out what I mean.
So many ways
doing
we can go here.
the whole douchebag thing right now. Everyone's nodding. Yep, classic. I know what he
No,
means.
six of
It's
those,
weird.
right,
I'm
right,
connected.
right.
I know what he means. No, but one of them is like to like play the whole game where you like show interest and then back away and do the whole hard to get thing. And I think there's something to that, but it's also like you could do that with 15 girls and be a total dirtbag or douchebag, like I said. And I don't think it's that. And I also don't think the best approach is to be hyper aggressive. Like I've talked to guys where they're like, I'm just going to keep pursuing her until she dates me. I'm like, bro, if she always knows you're available, why would she, there's no intrigue, you know, like you're constantly pursuing this girl. And like, have you ever been like, I have had a telemarketer stalk you? Like you're not interested in working for them unless you're desperate. Right.
Yeah.
And you don't want to get to that point where, you know, she's so broken and battered by some other guy that she's like, okay, fine, I'll go out with you. It's sad. So I think it's give them line of sight. I think the best way to be noticed by a girl that you're interested in is to hang out in her same circles, is to build relationships, genuine relationships with her friends, with the purpose of getting to know her kind of through the friends and seeing who she kind of hangs out with. By the way, they are going to listen to the girl that you like. She's going to listen to the girls, like her friends, on what they think about you before she dates you. So put in the necessary time and honestly just be a good dude. But I would say give her line of sight into your world a little bit while you gain line of sight into her world a little bit. I think that's a good way to approach it.
Definitely. I like it. I like how we're, you know, being that we're two happily married men here. I'm about to be 2 years in July.
What's wrong with this? Are you going to judge?
There's nothing. No, there's
judging?
nothing wrong with it. It's just very funny that I'm
Having
giving
this
relationship
conversation?
advice, I guess, in a sense, because I'm
I feel
like you said,
I feel like we're not
learning.
giving advice. I feel like we're talking about it.
It's true. It's very true.
I'm
I
giving
need
advice.
I need yeah. That's but yeah, I mean, that was honestly, it's kind of funny, man. That's one of the first things that, you know, especially in the whole dating scene, like you have to know who they hang out with. You know, it's just like anywhere in business and in any kind of relationship where you're around other people. You have to know who they hang out with because typically, you all heard it, you know, birds of a feather flock together, right? So it's, you know, if you're interested in the party girl, then they're probably going to be around party people. If you're interested in the Netflix and chill girl, they're probably around Netflix and chill. You know what I mean? So it's just, it is. It's,
you youngins, man.
but like I'm a Netflix and chill. Like I would much rather be on my couch watching Netflix than, you know, at a club or whatever. Now I had that moment, and again, kind of going back to what I was talking about, like you're going to grow up at different times. So whether you're 22, whether you're 17, whether you're, I know, because I've known 17-year-olds that were like ready to, you know, bed down and have a family, and then you know, I've known 52-year-olds that were still rocking and rolling at the club, you know. So it's just a matter of where you are on that spectrum. But I do like that point, and that's kind of one of the first things I was going to say too, is that, you know, especially when you're courting a girl, you want to try and keep it as social as possible, to me, to where you get to understand who her, you know, her circle is. She gets to understand who your circle is, and again, that rite of passage, right? It's always the friends will sign off on you way before she does.
What about family? When do you what do you think? I'm interested in this because I was always living away from my family.
Yeah.
Like, do you feel like family, when you were like starting to really like a girl, like would you introduce her to the family before you dated her?
Yeah. So
really?
I was
Oh,
weird, man.
interesting.
I was weird. And not to say that's weird, man, but you know, I'm a very family oriented person, but when I was ready to, like, I guess, you know, take that next step, and it's not just, you know, it's funny because I think the real reason why I was smiling, man, is because this is going to get into some demons for me, the whole dating world, because I was that douchebag for sure. Like,
no, me too. That's why I can talk about it.
I was a butthole. So this is, you know, I had this whole facade of, like, you know, wanting to be somebody in public light versus being somebody in private light, right? And I know we all kind of fall to that, but in whichever way you struggle with that is, you know, in hopes that you kind of find through God's grace to get out of that.
Dude, for sure.
So it took me a while to get out of that, but once I did and kind of realized, like, hey, man, I think I'm ready for the next step. Like, I was so tired of kind of the materialistic, you know, not that I ever, like, saw women in a sense of, like, as what's, like, the not
like objects?
I never saw them as objects in a sense, but at the same time it was always a chase, you know. It was the game, and I think it was in my own insecurity of, like, I needed that approval from girls or from women to, you know, to feel good about myself, you know. So and I'm I guess in a sense, man enough to admit that now, Trevor, while you're over there laughing, you fart. But
Trevor's like, me too, bro.
Yeah, no, he's like, dude,
any
I've always been
any
good
married
looking.
guy with a hot wife can agree with this. What we're
Right. No, I think it's true.
And if they can't, then I don't know.
Yeah. So, but back to your question, it was interesting because once I got to that place, I was like, okay, I want them to sign off on anybody that I'm hanging out with, and I was lucky enough to have, that was, kind of before I went off to the Jets, I was able to bring Jordan, my now wife, to the family.
Did you say bring her on?
Bring her to, I guess bring her to.
I brought her on right before the Jets.
Yeah.
So funny. Man.
Oh, did I say that? Yeah.
Kind of.
Before, my fault. Before I
teasing.
went to the Jets. Anyways, and that was pretty interesting, man, because, that was literally, I mean, we met at a wedding. She went back to Abilene. I went back to Midlothian, which is however many miles apart. And then I didn't have a truck, so she had to drive up to Dallas. And when she drove up to Dallas, like, hey, I'm with my family, so it's either this or hotel room.
Exactly. Motel or family,
exactly.
like the opposite side of the spectrum.
But again, I've kind of operated in that world, man. Even dating, girls in college, it was, if there was anything remotely serious about it, my parents were pretty close. Either dinners, whatever. So, but I have a very interactive family as well. Like they were at all the games, and we do things a lot. So which I love, and I hope that our kids down the road have that same feeling. But it's being away from your family, it's kind of interesting. How soon or how late in the game would you bring parents involved, if at all?
So Danny and I, we moved pretty fast in terms of like. We actually lived together really quickly, mostly because I was working out of town, so I was never there. So I would spend like 5 days at home, and I lived with her. Saved a little rent, She lived really close to the metro, so it made a lot of sense. This is in Washington, D.C. I look back, and I'm like I honestly don't know what my stance is on living together before you're married. I think biblically having sex before you're married is wrong, right? And we know that, and there's a reason for that. It's not just this rule. It's like you're crossing boundaries that are supposed to be there, like they're healthy boundaries, and there's a reason for that. And I've seen some of that play out in marriage, right? But not to get too far into that, but there's kind of this battle between my ethics, like inside, and my experience, right? However, my family was in Seattle and I was in DC, so it was hard to like I would only bring girls home that I was really serious about, because the way my family is once you're there, you're like hearing about Chad's childhood. My mom's going to show you the baby book. Like, you're kind of in there, Yeah. So I don't want to bring some girl that's a floozy and I had already tried, and, like, it had not worked. When I was dating local girls back there, my mom sniffs out BS like crazy. I was dating this one girl. She had, like, a ton of tattoos and all this kind of stuff. And I remember my mom was leaning over the kitchen counter just grilling this girl and, like, literally trying to find gaps in her story. And I remember the girl was holding my hand under the table, and I had no more blood in my entire arm. And I'm like, I'm never doing this again. I'm going to break up with this girl. Yeah, and then in 2 years or whatever, when I meet, like, the one or a girl who I think is the one,
right, they'll get
I'm going to bring her home, and I'm essentially going to be like, Mom and Dad, I'm going to marry this girl. I hope you like her.
Right.
And it went really well. Like, my family has loved Danny since the moment they met her. And I had conflict. We've had conflict kind of develop with my family after that. But from the moment my parents met her, my dad's like, she's like a third daughter. Like, I just love I love your wife. So I think it's situational. And I think it's obviously you have to respect family customs and stuff like that.
Right.
I would say, though, like, for anyone who's about to go into marriage, there are boundaries that need to be established between your new family, which is you and your wife, and your traditional family, like your family of origin. And it's very difficult as a guy, especially if you're the first guy in your family, to have to do it.
Right.
It's really hard to draw those boundaries in a respectful way, but your new job is to protect your wife, right? It's so hard to kind of be, between a rock and a hard place on that one, right? Because you want to honor your mom and dad, you want to honor your sisters, your brothers, whatever, but you want to make your wife feel safe,
Right.
And you want her to feel first, because she is first. She's your number one priority at that point. So that honestly is probably something I feel more comfortable talking about, that transition.
Yeah.
Because I've failed and succeeded a lot within that transition. I've learned a lot in that transition.
Right.
But another thing I would say for guys that are pursuing a girl or whatever, especially in this day and age, and I'm going to cut it at 2. I don't want to talk about the third one. I think it's kind of shallow. I probably shouldn't have put it in there. Was call. Like, I would call instead of text. I think if you want to stand out, you just need to be forward. Like, you need to be direct. Doesn't mean you need to call her every day. Like, don't call her at 2 a.m. and be like, I love you. I can't wait to see you again. But I would say call her. Like, I did that with Danny, and I could tell she was like, that's a confident move, you know? I called her on a Saturday. I'm like, you want to get some coffee? Like, and it's one great way to stand out from the pack, because a lot of people are hiding behind text messages these days, you know?
Very true. Well, it's easy, right? Like it's, and there's definitely a sense of like, do you really care if you're texting me? You know, like because you can be texting 5 different people at the same time.
You're a big caller, which I appreciate. I like when you just call and I'm like, okay, we'll just talk. Like, we get away from that too much. Man,
as I've gotten older, it's been crazy. Like I get bored texting. Like I don't want to be on my phone. You know, when I get home, you know, from meetings or work or whatever, I just throw the phone on the counter and like I don't touch it. So I apologize to anybody that's trying to reach out about after 6 o'clock. But I think my second one would too, kind of on the same terms, but like from a communication standpoint, I think that this, and again, this is me, right? So I'm bringing Joe to the family, like first time meeting. But I think the deeper that you can get, the sooner that you can get deeper, the better, right? Like leave the super tabletop conversations to, you know, whatever, a teacher you see in passing. Like I think that the more that you can get kind of into those in-depth conversations and really pull and grow, that's when you're going to know, you know, hey, is this, you know, worth pursuing or not? And I'm not necessarily talking about like, you know, political views or whatever, which are all good. You need to know those things, but just the ability to get, you know, into deep conversations is a huge thing, because
like vulnerability.
Right. And that's kind of where the basis of it is, you know, is do you allow yourself to be vulnerable with this person? And I know that certain personalities are different, certain backgrounds, you know, what you've experienced. You're going to have certain people that have walls up, certain people that, you know, have been through relationships where it just hasn't been, you know, administered as well. But I think that the easier, the better, the faster you can get into those deep conversations, the easier it is for you to make those decisions of, is this worth my time or not? Yeah,
that's really good. It's really good, because a lot of people, I feel like they date for kind of that surface level, like, you're good looking, like, we have a good time together.
Right.
And everything I think we both said kind of pulls it back to like, okay, this is like a real relationship here. Like, that stuff's going to come out at some point, you know,
right.
Like who they are.
Right.
I don't think a first date is like when you go into like, you know, well, I don't know if I believe. I used to get pretty like real on first dates.
Yeah,
like, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm not looking for. I'm done with this. These are my greatest strengths. These are my greatest weaknesses.
Yeah,
you know?
That's funny.
It's like, let's just get real.
Pull out the resume real quick.
Pull out the resume real quick. My greatest weakness is I just cared too much. It's one of those like soft rags.
It's not you, it's me.
No, my greatest weakness. What was your greatest weakness? What would you say? Mine is impatience.
We're pretty the same, dude, when it comes to all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I would definitely say, in relationships, in regards to relationships, or just anything, weakness in general. I think mine's control. Like, I want to be in control pretty much in every situation. So, you know, when I feel out of control, I get testy, I guess, you know, like, and I can even see that in my marriage and, you know, whether it was football or kind of every facet of my life. Like, when I don't have control is when I get super agitated, super short, and then I start to.
That is so interesting. You know what my greatest fear is? Fear of control.
That's funny.
So we have to be open about that. Yeah, if we're like texting, we're like, yo, I'm feeling a little controlled right now.
That's funny.
Yeah, you're triggering me, bro. You're triggering me right now. But that's like real friendship, though, like, because we know we want to work through it, you know, and we don't want to let those things get in our way. Like Joe, one of my co-founders, and I, we have those conversations. Like, sometimes we'll be like, this is how I'm feeling, but you know what? Maybe that's a little bit of pride, or maybe that's a little bit insecurity, or that is like healthy stuff, you know?
Right.
And I think, especially men, I think more of us need to be comfortable having those conversations.
Right.
Like, yeah, because of what I went through as a kid, I feel these certain things, and it's easy for me to get triggered. Here are my typical responses. I don't want to be like that.
Right.
I'm trying to establish new thought patterns, new ways of handling it. Can you help me on that journey? Yeah. Of course, bro.
Right,
like, that's so humble, of course. You know, so I think we got to get into some other stuff. How much time we got left? Perfect. Okay, so we want to get into this. Check this out. Do you have yours prepared?
Yeah.
Okay. Go for it.
You want me to roll?
Yeah.
So my Check This Out is actually an app that I got a couple years ago. It's called Headspace. I'm sure everybody's kind of heard of it. Kind of in this thought process, especially of like the mindset of certain things. You can't really talk about mindset without a positive sense of mindfulness, right? And I think that I'm definitely not a professor in mindfulness by any means, but there's an app called Headspace. Y'all need to look it up. It's actually it's a good learning tool. It kind of has a step-by-step process of how to get into those things. It's a real quick 10-minute deal. Typically, I'll get to a meeting 10, 15 minutes early, throw on this app, kind of puts me in the right frame of mind. So you can do it at night, during the day, later in the day.
Is it a meditation app?
Yeah. It's a meditation
so
app.
It's guided meditations.
Do you explain it better than I do?
Well,
yeah,
no, but
it is
I
a guided
think
meditation.
I had it at one point. So you go in like a dark room for 10 minutes and you can put your headphones in.
Yeah, you can. But I mean, it's really just getting in a restful place.
I think.
You know? I mean, but if you think about it, how many of us are just go?
Oh my gosh,
And then when we stop, it's like we hard stop. It's you want to get, and just watch TV and
it's like melt.
Yeah. so the mindfulness is really good because it brings attention to those certain things in your body where you do feel anxious, and you really feel it. You feel it in your shoulders, you can feel it in your feet, and so it kind of goes from head to toe of you putting your mind and really getting into the detail of that certain space. And then as you kind of go through 2 days of that, 4 days, and then you go into that habit of being able to get in that mindset without even using the app.
Really? So you felt that?
Yeah.
You feel like
you
can kind of like right now you could, I mean, not right now because you're engaged.
Right.
You could like kind of channel into that.
Well, you understand how to talk to yourself to where you can kind of, exactly. You channel yourself to where you can see where that anxiety is kind of building up. And then once you channel it, you can be able to release it and kind of, it's all about being in the present. So again, that's where we're kind of talking about the process of things where you don't look so far ahead that you overwhelm yourself. It's about being in the present, really enjoying this podcast, what we're doing right now, really enjoying this lunch meeting. And so it's about being in the present.
You're good at that. I feel like you really engage. So thanks for the app.
Yeah, dude.
Thanks to the app for that. By the way, the reason you chose the British accent earlier, could it be linked to your mindfulness?
Maybe, dude. I have no idea. I didn't even think about it.
No, it's a subconscious thing.
Just always want to be British.
I was gonna. I can't remember. I was gonna get into something, but my check this out is not related to mindfulness. It's related to meat. It's VC Dry Goods. It's one of the startups we're working with. They're not really a startup. They're a proven company. They're here in Dallas. They make really good beef jerky, 0 grams of fat in the beef jerky, and really tasty flavors. You can check them out at vcdrygoods.com. They did not pay for this sponsorship. I am that big of a believer in the product. In fact, last episode you were munching on it and you were like, man, this shit's good.
It was good. It was really good.
Yeah, they have really
several
good
flavors.
Stuff. Yeah.
These cookies are really
and they're
good
coming
stuff.
out with meat sticks now, like protein sticks. They're going to do like
Great
turkey
snacks, man.
and bacon and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. It's going to be good. What we want to give you before we rock and roll and end this, I don't know what that meant, before we end this, is 2 resources. So these are 2 books. I already mentioned one of them. It's called As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. The other one is The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. That was written in 1957. Earl Nightingale is one of the most renowned speakers, communicators, writers, and he talks a lot about that same kind of concept. And both of these books are I think they're 20 pages long or something. So they're very short. It's all about training your brain, quick reads. Both of them have audio versions on Audible you can listen to. The links to them on Amazon are in our show notes. So take a look at those when you can. And then there was something else. Okay, so we play games on the show. We're going to keep doing that. We need suggestions for games. One of the games that we would like you guys to help us put together is a game called Keep Away. It's a game where the audience chooses a word and sends it to one of us. And we rotate kind of who the leader on this is between me and Bryce. And I have to embed that word into the conversation 3 times. And Bryce, at the end of the episode, has to guess which word it is. So it could be banana, it could be race car, whatever. We need you to send us those. So send us an email at connect@wilderness-podcast.com. Connect@wilderness-podcast.com. Any last words for our audience, Bryce?
No, man, I enjoyed it. Another great time getting to kind of share. Mental side of things, the mindset side of things is really important to me. I really enjoy it, and so I hope you guys do as well.
And by the way, we want to hear your thoughts, any resources that have helped you guys too.
Very much
Feel
so.
free to rate us, review us, and drop some of those things in that email to us. Excited to keep this going, man.
Yes, sir.
Cool.